When I first joined the club, it's like, holy smokes, there's a Mr. Peanut convention. And all of a sudden, you have this commonality because you are a collector, they are a collector. You both like Mr. Peanut. And then you start realizing, wow, this is a lot of fun.
The Peanut Pals are a group of collectors of Planters peanut items.
Passionate, lovable people. We enjoy spreading the word of Mr. Peanut. We enjoy collecting.
And if you look around enough, you'll find Mr. Peanut on things that you never dreamed would be Mr. Peanut.
Well, he's cute. You can't help but smile when you see Mr. Peanut. He makes people happy.
He's loving, he's playful, he's fun. He has wisdom, he's debonair.
Mr. Peanut is an advertising icon
that has lived now for 107 years.
There's a nostalgic component to it.
And childhood memories, my dad collected when I was a little boy.
And it's just easy to relate to Mr. Peanut. Everything is in the find. The find is always something new that you don't have, but there's always more to find.
But it brings all different types of people together.
But the most major point is, you like Mr. Peanut. There's just something about him. We enjoy what Mr. Peanut does. We want to follow his journey. We've seen where he's been. We want to know what he's going to do in the future. That's what we're all about.
Amadeo Obisi, who founded the company. They had a contest in Suffolk, Virginia, and they were trying to get an advertising icon that they could use.
And a little boy sketched a rough Mr. Peanut.
And after that, the rest is history.
I don't know if there's anybody alive that doesn't know who Mr. Peanut is or what it represents.
And I think just Mr. Peanut in himself makes it easy to identify the brand, and they seem to adapt to whatever the trend is at the time.
Obisi was trying to find a way to stimulate sales. So he started, with little items like putting them in bags and having you send in a nickel and, 5 containers. And then he just worked from there. So he started making all these products. I mean, there's salt and pepper shakers, there's train cars,
Coloring books, paint books,
pencils, cups, plastic banks.
He knew that he wanted to get a customer for life. And that's the way he grew the company.
At one point, Planters had Mr. Peanut Planters stores.
And so they had all kinds of advertising, roaster riders, a window tapper where his cane would motorize, tap the glass to get people's attention. You have jars that would hold the peanuts, tin cans, cardboard display boxes. There's trolley signs from the old trolley cars.
Lamp fixtures, light fixtures, wall hangings.
I think in today's collecting world, a lot of people who collect planters collect because of the large quantity of different type items, and they recognize the icon of Mr. Peanut, and they associate with that.
It was so prolific through the years. There's just so much material to collect. So when you're looking, you're always looking for Mr. Peanut. It just gives you a reason to do what you do.
I think I was probably born to be a collector. When I was 10, 12 years old, I mailed into Mr. Peanut premiums I got a bank. But it wasn't until 30 years after that, when I got married, my wife shared the liking of the figural Mr. Peanut. And that got me all excited again about thinking back to my youth and the fun I had with the bank, and I kind of fell in love with Mr. Peanut.
When we first got together, I had never collected a thing in my life. So we started doing flea markets and that sort of thing, and it was like, oh, this is fun. And it became our hobby, just collecting things. And then, of course, we came across Mr. Peanut, and we just enjoyed him. He was colorful, he was friendly.
The rest is history. It's all here. We probably have accumulated close to 3,000 different items at this point.
Well, I think history is important. How things happened, how things changed over the years. You see the evolution of life in a product.
And I think all collectors would agree that you want to keep as much as you can and preserve it so that others can enjoy it.
everything has a story. And if you don't know the story, then it's just an item. But if you know the story behind the item, then it comes to life. I've been collecting Mr. Peanut since about 2006. And I started finding Mr. Peanut items at garage sales in the Midwest. And then I met a gentleman from Omaha that was part of the Peanut Pals, and he introduced me to that group. And then my eyes got wide open after that. I've got items ranging from, I think the oldest item I have is probably 1918, which would be an ad. And I got stuff that is current from Hormel today. The idea of collecting Mr. Peanut, getting together with people that have a like interest and sharing the stories, I think is what makes the collecting part of it fun. Well, I think the people that collect hopefully also try to gain knowledge about what they collect. And it's stories about our past, our history. My hope is to inspire other people to like Mr. Peanut and keep the club going in the long term, because it is a fun club.
When you join Peanut Pals, your number one priority is, what can I find that I don't have? Then all of a sudden you start switching gears after you're in the club for a while, and you start figuring out it's not about collecting, it's still about Mr. Peanut, but it's really about the camaraderie.
I think probably the most outstanding thing is the friendship of the people.
I refer to Peanut Pals as kind of a big family reunion now, since we've been doing it for so many years. We've met people that never in a million years where our paths have crossed. Different interests, different educations, different everything. But the one thing we have in common is Mr. Peanut.
Well, Peanut Pals get together for 3 conventions a year.
We've been doing this ever since 1990, that we have not missed a convention. We've traveled in the last 30-some years to 30 or 35 states. You can sell stuff, you can buy stuff, you can trade stuff. It's very, very, very much fun.
We will hold some sort of a room hopping. So everybody will set out Mr. Peanut memorabilia on the beds. You hop from room to room to room, and you have an opportunity to say hi to everybody, but also to buy Mr. Peanut memorabilia. We also do the similar thing with then a swap meet, and then we usually open it up to the public. When the public comes in, that's the neatest part, because they're all gonna have a story. They're all gonna remember meeting Mr. Peanut on the boardwalk or at the town square.
It's fun to watch them and sometimes bring their grandkids and talk about, look at that, I didn't know that. So it's fun to watch people learn to appreciate Mr. Peanut.
We, as the older generation, can look back and say, I remember when I was a kid and we were out driving on a Sunday and we saw the Nutmobile on the expressway. And kids today, if they see it, will remember that in 20 or 30 years.
The magic of Mr. Peanut is understanding that he is one of America's most iconic mascots. And the magic of Mr. Peanut is showing up at events, having people come up to us, and everyone having a story growing up with Mr. Peanut. And I think that's just a great example of the kind of legacy that we hope to continue, and hope that 50 years down the road, people are talking about the one time that they saw the Nutmobile in their own hometown.
I'm a peanutter for Planters Peanuts, which means I travel on an east to west nutcracking fest in the Planters Nutmobile. We go to a new state every single week, spreading miles and smiles across the country. So having the opportunity to bring Mr. Peanut to children across the country and have them recognize a superstar, as you might say, in your grocery aisles is really neat, and they'll be able to pass that along to their families as well.
Those kids are gonna have those memories, and then those memories they're gonna wanna share with their kid, and there becomes the nostalgia.
So you want the next generation to appreciate and what those different gifts that he put together and gave out to the public.
And as long as he keeps doing that, people will keep loving him, and then their kids are gonna keep loving him, and that's why he's gonna stick around for generation to generation to generation.